Hey everybody, welcome to Snohomish, Washington. Got some noisy windshield wipers right now. We have a light drizzle today. It's 4:19 in the afternoon, and let's flip it around and do a bit of a drive here. All right, there we go. Hope you're doing well. We're at the Snohomish Boat Launch on Lincoln Avenue, right across from the Stalker soccer fields. All of this was underwater just last month and for quite some time. Still have areas with floodwaters and portions of farm fields and in the valley here. It is a floodplain after all. So part of the incentive was to do this live stream was just a spur of the moment thing while I was at the boat launch. I shot a time lapse there and then also shot some debris that had come down right at the boat launch of a fallen tree and some other tree stuff that either is from that immediate area or just came down the river and kind of left itself there. Now several feet above the water because the water is obviously back to a normal level now. But it's kind of striking because I've done photography at the boat launch. It's kind of striking to be up on that hillside and see the debris there because, yeah, typically you're several feet above the water, but that debris is all up there now. I'll post some of that later on Facebook if there's any interest in seeing that. My Facebook page is Beyond 90 Seconds. Yeah, so while I was winding up there, I thought, this little bit I did on camera, I'll go ahead and put a microphone on, why not? So I recorded something for a related video. And then I thought, well, why don't I see if this works well while I'm live streaming? So just testing out the mic and hopefully there's some good audio. And just as I was about to go live and I was, using my thumbs to type in the title for this video before I clicked go live, there's a notification came on X from the National Weather Service out of Seattle. I don't remember exactly what the headline was. It basically said there's snow and lots of powder come to the Cascades and the Olympic Mountains. Probably already happening, quite frankly, because we have so much cloud cover bringing moisture in all throughout today. A lot of drizzle here, but I imagine quite likely more precipitation once this stuff gets backed up in the mountains, which we're heading west right now, so the mountains, the Cascade Mountains, would be behind me. You wouldn't be able to see them because of the low clouds today. But yeah, we're in Snohomish. It's 50 degrees Fahrenheit, 4:22 p.m. on this Sunday. I think what we'll do is once we cross the river, instead of getting directly on Highway 9, let's instead cross the river and take Springhetty Road, which is a very rural, nice country drive. Anyway, hope your Sunday's been a good one, that you've had a good weekend. It's been quite some time since I've live streamed on YouTube using my phone, and I am not seeing any comments. And if you are commenting live, I apologize for not seeing them. I do keep my eye on the road, But if we're at a stoplight in particular, I'll take a glance to see if there's anything to respond to. So feel free to comment, and if I miss it live, I'll respond once the stream is over. So we're crossing the Snohomish River. I'd be curious to know if the quality is very good. It's I have Verizon, and I don't always get a very strong cell service down here, cell signal. Over the railroad tracks we go. And on our right is Harvey Field. Once things warm up, not only do we see the small aircraft, which of course we see year round, but we'll also see the skydivers and the hot air balloons here at Harvey Field. Usually the hot air balloons later in the day towards sunset, and skydivers once the weather's nice throughout the day and into the evening, early evening, while there's still some light. Now, if you know this area by chance, straight ahead we would normally see a barn, and it's gone. I have always wondered when that barn was going to finally come down, but it came down in recent weeks, I imagine, or the last few months, and I wasn't here for when that happened apparently, because we had some water damage at our home over the summer, so we had to move out, and I was living in Mukilteo, so I wasn't on top of things. By the way, off to the left is still some standing water from the flooding. It's very common for that to happen after flooding in this area on my left. It's also the area where Harvey Field would expand. The small airport wants to expand, I think, another couple of thousand feet or something like that for the runway to the south here. And that would move this road too. So FAA has already, it's my understanding, approved this and has declared that there's no need for an environmental impact statement. I know that's probably fine with some people, but others are concerned about that possibility of never having an EIS or a draft EIS than an EIS. Anyhow, now we're on Spring Giddy Road. If you don't mind, let me know, or if you could let me know how the audio sounds. I would be most appreciative if I'm using a wireless microphone, and because my phone is on a dash cam mount, it's kind of a tight fit for the little receiver on the phone that grabs this signal from the wireless mic transmitter that I'm wearing. Hopefully it's all sounding good. I think we're having king tides on the most significantly on the Washington coast again today. I believe Washington Weather Chasers was out there yesterday live streaming during king tides during the day. Pretty cool. Great channel if you're not already following it, Washington Weather Chasers. Benjamin Yurkovic, I believe is the primary guy's name, out of Lake Stevens, if I'm not mistaken, just north of Snohomish. And about a week or so ago, he was up on Interstate 90, going up to Snoqualmie Pass, up and down, showing the snowing that particular day. And his live stream signal was excellent. and he had just gotten Starlink. I believe he's got a Starlink Mini mounted to his vehicle. That is very tempting. In addition to that, I think he's got a couple of cell providers where he bundles the signals for a stronger overall signal. It's pretty darn good to have that additional bandwidth available to you, especially when you're doing not so much leisurely live streaming, but important news information, important to the people watching and important for you to get it out and you're putting the work in. So we got about a quarter mile left on Spring-Getty Road here. Now we're on Broadway. Tell you what, just up here we'll come to Highway 9. Let's go ahead and go straight. That'll be East Lowell-Larimer Road, which will take us to Seattle Hill Road and Marsh Road. And I think maybe we'll take Marsh Road. That's been one of particular interest in the past 3 weeks or so, since the mid-December flooding. It was under 6 to 8 feet of water, so the road, Marsh Road, was closed. And sadly, one night, 33-year-old man drove onto Marsh Road, and unfortunately, he drowned. Marsh Road is, even when there's no water, you've got to really be paying attention, and because on either side you have very deep ditches. Those ditches are deep because they are irrigation ditches. They're not for the entire year are they filled with water, but during the appropriate seasons. So even if there was no flooding, whether there was water within them or not, you don't want to go off the road. You especially don't want to go on to a road that's closed because it's flooded with 6 to 8 feet of water, and it only gets deeper if you go down into one of those ditches. So again, sadly, a young man lost his life. I picked up on some confusion regarding the reference to Lowell-Larimer Road. And so technically what you have here in front of us, once we get past this green light on the other side of Highway 9 here, so starting right now, we are on East Lowell-Larimer Road. That's, if you're not familiar with the area, Lowell is one word hyphen Larimer. I believe a lot of the families that initially settled here in the early days of Snohomish, this would probably be 1800s, early 1900s, on this particular road, if I'm not mistaken, they're from Germany. You got a lot of older structures still here, but then on our left basically is a slope that goes up to the suburbs, and more of the suburbs are coming down that slope and meeting this road. So you have this intersection of the historic rural Snohomish architecture and then the newer buildings coming down the hillside. When I was a kid, it was primarily forest on the left side of the road throughout this drive. Once you got above the old houses and old barns. I remember back in the 70s, early to mid 70s, my folks had some friends that lived down here, Jim and Ann, and I think their last name was Horn. Anyway, it was a thrill to go to their old farm farmhouse, and then my brothers and I would take this red wagon they had and go up the slope on a little dirt road that they had. And so you go up this hillside, and then there was an old barn up in the woods up there. And I remember there were owls in there, and you could find their pellets. And as kids, we would look for the bones and stuff and the rodents and the owl pellets. But anyway, we'd like to take that red wagon up the top of the slope and get in it and then fly down the hillside in the red wagon. And I'm talking, this is elementary school, so this is a long time ago for me. But yeah, now you've got signs of the modern homes and stuff on just out of view to our left. It's interesting because I do wonder about the erosion. In the spring, we have windstorms, and on Lowell-Larimer Road, north of Marsh Road, over the years, it's not been uncommon to have some trees come down, and part of the problem is that the irrigation, the small ditch that is just off the roadway of Lowell-Larimer Road, because you go towards Everett, it gets a lot of debris in it, so the water drainage backs up. And a few years ago, maybe 10 years ago, I interviewed a guy. I got video of him moving his boat because he was fearful the hillside across the street was going to come down across the road and into his boat and his home. And he explained the issue and the concern. And indeed, the Everett Herald has done news stories about the concern about those ditches not getting the attention they need along Lowell-Larimer Road towards Everett, north of Marsh Road here. So we're on East Lowell-Larimer now. We'll soon be coming to a stop sign. If we take a left at this stop sign coming up here, we'd be going up Seattle Hill Road. But instead, we are going to go straight, and we'll get on to Marsh Road. Now, if we wanted to be on Lowell-Larimer Road, once again, we would take a left right here. That's straight up Lowell-Larimer. A moment ago, we were on East Lowell-Larimer. Here's Marsh Road, and here's where Marsh Road was closed. And here's, unfortunately, where the young man, 33 years old, during the December flooding, overnight drove onto the flooded road and perished. This is also where I was recording at the roadblock back there, where these two gentlemen were coming in on a small boat, and they explained to me and others who were at the roadblock that they had gone out on their small boat so they could reach their farm to further secure it from possible looting. And when they arrived there were 6 men who appeared to be in their 20s looting their farm. And long story short, I did interview them. About 2 hours after I posted it to Facebook and YouTube, they asked if I could take it down because, quite frankly, they said they were devastated by the loss due to the flooding, and then to have the encounter with the looters was just too much and too raw. And they said they would do an interview if I could just take it down, and they would do an interview with me later. Nothing's off the table. They would talk about everything. Anyway, so I took it down, and we'll see if we do a follow-up. But just off to my right, there is a very deep ditch. You can see some of these hay bales down there that have rolled down there. So yeah, you've got, even when the conditions are ideal and there's no water anywhere in sight, you really got to keep your eye on the road here. Because if you wander off, there's no guardrail and you can go down several feet into those ditches. So I'll be interested to see how well this stream does in terms of the quality, the video and audio. If it's good video, if we got a good signal out of here, that's good to know, because this is often a scenic and sometimes news-related drive, and we might want to do something similar in the future. as to what we're doing right now, which is a live stream. I think what we'll do is turn around at the miniature golf course and driving range up here. In fact, let's just do it here before we reach there. And we'll turn around and we'll go up Seattle Hill Road. Seattle Hill Road is a wonderful little road here in Snohomish. Don't be confused by the name if you're not from the area. We are in Snohomish, which is about 30 miles north of Seattle. I remember in the early 70s going down Seattle Hill Road with my parents would drive, and it always seemed like a big deal because it's a windy, very windy, short road, but got to take it slow and be careful. And as a kid, it was a bit of a thrill. So during the flooding, I think it was on maybe December 13th, I had dropped my son off in Seattle. He was going to take a bus to Yakima, and took him early in the morning. And as I was coming home, I thought, okay, I'll go get my camera equipment and shoot some flooding this morning. But before I reached home, I came to Seattle Hill Road, and I thought, you know what, let's just drive down it and put the iPhone on the dash mount, and record what it looks like this morning, because it was on December 13th, it was a beautiful sunny morning. And boy, driving down that Saturday, I think it might have been a Saturday morning, I'm trying to remember. Driving down that morning on December 13th was not only beautiful, it was kind of awesome in the way it showed the open, or revealed as you went down the hill, the open expanse of water that covered all of this, covered this road by several feet that we're on right now, and the farm fields to our right and left. So many square miles of just covered farm fields. And actually, there's not just right here that we were experiencing that flooding. It was even beyond to the east, around the north side of Lord Hill, towards Monroe and out into Monroe, which is just east of here. So that video, which I posted on Facebook on December 13th, if I recall correctly, quickly got upwards of 200,000 plus views. And someone said to me after about 4 days in the comments, because you upload to YouTube, so I put it there too. So you can find that video, if you're inclined, on this YouTube channel as well. I think I may have uploaded another one a few weeks later, showing just how much water was still in the fields. But look for the original, the one with a bunch of views on YouTube. I think on YouTube it must have at least 50,000 views. But anyway, it's from December 13th, and it's sunny weather. If you see those two things, you'll know you've got the right one. All right, let's go up Seattle Hill Road. I ran up this road once. That's might be of interest for two reasons, or maybe three. Perhaps one is the shock that I was running, let alone uphill. But I did. It was probably about 10 years ago. 11, 12 years ago. The other is it is a severe climb, so that might be the other reason for the surprise. And the other thing is, if you know the road, you know there's really not much of any sidewalk. So it was a bit tricky, and fortunately it wasn't very busy. So my kids and my wife still joke about that day. I went for a run and It included running up this hill because I was angry about something, so I let off steam by going for a run. And the last thing I probably imagined as I went out the door was I'd run up Seattle Hill Road. All right, so we're mainly all the way up now. And you can see we're no longer around barns and farmhouses. We're in the suburbs.